Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 92.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the Cashflow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
Hello, everyone. Glad you're here. Glad you're listening. And today is going to be something of a different show type. We want to experiment with some things. We produce a lot of content, and I'm sure, a lot's a relative term, but many of you may, or maybe you don't know, that we have a web show that I do, and I record it live every Tuesday, or I should say most Tuesdays, at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And what I do is I just answer the questions that are sent in to us. I just answer questions. That's really all I'm doing. I'm answering your questions as you guys send them in. So when you guys send in those questions, we answer them. We do the best that we can to get as many of them answered in the time that we have allotted. And I figured that there could be one or two of you who didn't know that this existed for you. So I wanted to give you a quote unquote sample, the best I could. It's an audio sample, if you will. So what we've done is I'm just putting together this particular episode to see if you guys want more of your questions answered. Because if you do, the way to do that is to go over to cashflowdiary.tv/updates. Cashflowdiary.tv is where we actually broadcast live at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And if you go to cashflowdiary.tv/updates, what it'll do is it'll put you on the list so that when the show is happening, you'll have an opportunity to submit your questions, because we always send it out and we say, hey guys, what's your questions for the week? And when we get those answers back, that begins to formulate what it is that we talk about that particular episode. So anyway, what I wanted to do is give you a sample. It's kind of like what we do from time to time when I'm out there speaking. I give you a sample of the event in and of itself. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to give you a sample. The entire episode is me answering your questions. And remember, be nice. This is done live. So when you hear me mess up and stumble all over myself, just be forgiving, if you will. Anyway, so here we go. This is for Q&A with Jay, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to be prepared. Like I said, go over to cashflowdiary.tv/updates. That way, if you want your questions answered live during our web show, you have a shot at making that happen. Here we go. All right, guys, gals, people of all ages, how are you doing today? I'm excited to be here. Hopefully you are excited as well. I'm looking forward to sharing with you as much information as I can in the time that we have allotted. My name is Jay. For those of you who I have not met before, welcome. For those of you in the chat room, feel free to change your names over so that I have the ability to talk to you by name as opposed to guest underscore 12123 or whatever it might come up as. So with that being said, let me quickly, for those of you who are here for the first time, give you a quick, brief update. My name is Jay. Been a real estate investor for a little while now. A few short years ago, my wife and I, we started in what many would call a less than advantageous position. We were squatting a bank-owned property. She could not eat or drink. I could not walk or talk. She had a condition known as hyperemesis. I developed a condition known as pleurisy, and I was born with asthma. All that put together made it very difficult. That's how we ended up squatting a bank-owned property and selling our own personal possessions on eBay, trying to make ends meet. And a friend came to us and said, hey, you should become a real estate investor. So with a credit score of 398 and barely $75 put together is how we started. And we've managed now to do hundreds of transactions in multiples of different states. Many of you watching have now participated with us in various different transactions. We've got multifamily buildings, we've got commercial buildings, a cell phone tower, building a resort internationally. And we do this to help you get as many questions as you possibly can answered. We've got a number of questions today I'm excited about. So let's take a look at that. Let's see. Yes. One quick thing before I forget. For those of you, you may want to go over to the Cashflow Diary podcast.com, cashflowdiarypodcast.com, because I promise you, I want to have as much time as I possibly could to get all of these answers done for you, but I don't. But I hopefully occasionally get more time there. And those of you who are possibly a part of some of our private coaching groups and things of that nature, you have the ability to get more of your questions answered that way. In fact, I got to tell you some good news. Good news is a lot of you are sending in questions. That is awesome. And I love how deep and detailed they are. That's perfect. Here's the bad news. We've instituted a new rule. I can spend no more than 5 minutes on any one question because there's so many questions, and I'm doing my best to get to as many of you as I possibly can in the time that we have. That's what we've got. So you've got 5 minutes of my time is what we're going to be talking about when it comes to asking questions. So let's look at some of the questions. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, let me check the chat room to see if there are chat room. Where'd the chat room go? That's not the chat room. For those of you who want to participate, you can go over to cashflowdiary.tv and that way you'll be able to participate in the chat room. You'll be able to see, what we see or what I'm looking at as well. And for many of you, what you'll also be able to, if you're watching on a mobile device, we'll occasionally show you the chat room. That way you can see it as well. So everyone, if you could, go ahead and type in, tell everybody where you're from, some of the real estate experience you may have. That way when I come back to the chat room, I can see and greet you, welcome you, those types of things. What we're going to do, as I said, is that I'm going to run over to some questions. Now, here's the good thing and the bad thing. Again, like I said, it's 5 minutes, but I'm also going to be prioritizing questions for those of you who are part of our courses, either our wholesaling course, or any of the other courses, or, when I know that you're a part of the course, your questions are going to get prioritized. That way we make sure we get those answered. And then we get to all the other ones that have been sent in as well. So let's see. I know we had a question because I've been talking to yes, Jackson, and I'm sure you're watching, Jackson, because you've been pretty good about that. I think his major question was, where did it go? Oh, yes. Are you supposed to write initial offer and email the seller first, or follow up with a phone call and find out the why? And here's what I'm going to say to you, Jackson. This is how this is done. Your business plan is always done in this order. 3, 4, 5. And these are the 5 questions. Did you start the timer? These are the 5 questions that you must answer, and in this order. Why, what, when. I bet you this 5-minute clock focuses me or something. It makes me answer faster and clearer. Why, what, when, who, and then how. Okay? So you've got to get those questions answered. Those are the types of things that you want to have answered before you actually put the offer in. I want you to get on the phone. I want you more time on the phone than having written offers out there. I would rather you make 100 phone calls and talk to 20 people, and of those 20 people have 10 offers than, hear me clearly, I'd rather you do that than to write 100 offers and never talk to anybody. Yes, 100 offers is great. I'd rather you talk to the person, because what you must learn is to uncover. Here's the secret to getting business done, because you're still in our wholesaling program. The secret is to uncover pain/problems, and then later present your solution. And these are the types of questions you're going to be asking. You're going to be asking the why, what, when, who's, and how's. And you want to find out those 3 things that you've been learning. We all know that we must know, are they ready to do business with you now? Can they do business? And are they willing to do business with you? That's what you've got to find these 3 things out as well as get this information so that you can go out there to write the offer. So I would rather you than writing. I'm again, man, I can't tell you how proud I am. I'm very excited to know that you keep sending in, you keep connecting, you keep contacting us, letting us know this is the progress that you're making. This is what's going on. I totally appreciate your commitment. That's what I love about people. It's why you're part of the reason I do this, just so you know, is because I want people to go out there and have different results, different actions, and you believed in yourself enough and you trusted us with our education to go out there and make some stuff happen. I'm excited about it. Keep going, but that's your answer. Make the phone calls first. How much time do I have left? Did I do it? 3 seconds? 3 left. Oh, 3. Oh, goodness. All right, so let's go to the next question. Got it. So this next question also comes from someone in our wholesale course, and she was asking about the math. And I call it simple, basic math when it comes to trying to analyze what a property might cash flow and or how to predict what that looks like. So here's what I mean. Simple math formula is income minus expenses equals NOI minus debt service equals cash after debt service. Okay? That's the formula I like to use. That's the formula most people use. And I'm going to just show you how this applies. So, especially when you're trying to figure out, you're trying to make that is this property worth pursuing or not type of decision. So go, no go. Eventually you'll get to the point to where you can do this in seconds as opposed to it taking a long time. So let's say, for example, the property rents for $1,200. The expenses, I'm going to automatically calculate at half that number, which by default means half is left because I'm doing subtraction here. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And then, even though I don't have the financial calculator out right now, but we will later, right? We're just going to say that for debt service, principal and interest, we're allocating $300 on a monthly basis towards that, which means, in general, $300 is what's left over. The question I have to begin to ask myself is $300 on this one property, on this one door, this one unit, is that acceptable to me or not? It's up to you. It doesn't have to be, it could be, but the point is, for me, this is a go decision. This is a total go decision. Because I'm okay so long as the property has at least $100 of cash flow on the door. But, some of you might want a fatter margin. There's nothing wrong with that. Then when I interpret this information, here's what this means. This means that if the property rents for $1,200 and I manage it so that I'd spend no more than $600 a month in expenses and make sure that my mortgage payment's no more than $300, then you have a good shot at being able to make this property work. You got to make sure you include all the expenses in your economic model and make sure that you work with a competent broker to understand how your loan works as well, or your private financing that you structure. So these are the this is how the math should be done. Now, you could also do it in reverse. Okay, you could also do it in reverse. Let me show you what I mean by that. What I mean is, say you just said to yourself, I want to make $200 per month of cash flow. So we're going to start with the back end. So cash flow. And we want that to be $200. Then what that means is, okay, we have cash flow. And I've got to do this. Remember, I'm doing this in reverse. So it's like doing your ABCs backwards. It sometimes is a challenge. So you're actually adding the debt service back to come up with a new number. And that new number is going to be the NOI. And then you're going to add the expenses back to come up with a new number. And that new number is going to be the rent or the income for the building. Now, in our previous example, what we used is we used a 50% expense ratio and a 50% debt service ratio. So meaning half we used a debt service coverage ratio of 2, which is the same thing as saying that half the payment or half the net operating income is equal to half the net operating income is equal to the debt service. So that's what we're talking about here. So here's how that breaks down. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the same number to itself. So 200 plus 200 is going to give me 400. 400 plus 400 is going to give me 800. This now tells me, according to this formula and this way of thinking, if I'm looking for properties that have $800 a month of income, $400 a month of expenses, and I can get a loan or private financing in the form of $200 a month payment or less. This is all what we're talking about here. So you could use the formula either way, but you can use this formula to figure out how to communicate with the realtor, how to figure out, how to communicate at networking groups. When people ask you, what are you looking for? These types of numbers help you. So hopefully, I think that was Katie's question. Hopefully that helps you, Katie, right there. All right, so let's get over to the next question. I think I'm liking this 5-minute thing. All right, Paulette. He has 2 houses. Okay. Front will rent for $1,000 to $1,100 once rehabbed. Back will rent for $700 to $975. Rehab will be approximately $60 to $80 per square foot. I'm going to assume, Paulette, that we're talking dollars because I don't know. You could be from another country. So I'm going to do everything in US dollars just so that I'm thinking, and I'm not, because you're talking about square feet. The higher range, if I have a contractor do the work. The front of the house is 1950, still has original crown molding and no mold. Newer roof. Back of the house was burned by vagrants. Yes. Not a hot fire as far as I can tell, and it appears not to have any foundation involvement. Okay. Rehab cost on both houses equals $120,000, or if the city will allow an expansion, then $144,000. But the acquisition cost puts it to $180,000 to $210,000. Okay, so you've got to pay for it first. Got it. Understood. I'm really excited about this property, but I am a deer in headlights regarding financing. Help. No problem, Paulette. Here we go. The couple of things that I want to stress to you, Paulette, is that I get this question a lot. Many people, they can find these deals, they get this information, and they're not quite sure how to organize it such that it becomes a deal. And then once they do, you're getting close to that. You've organized the information so that you can begin to see what you need, the $180,000 to $210,000. Then that question, like you said, I am really excited, but I'm a deer in headlights regarding financing. We got the question so much, we did a couple of things. I just want to make sure everyone gets this. One, we ran a private mastermind group, and we don't do those all the time, but we do them live, and I take a group of people and I teach them how to raise private capital for their deals very much like this one. And 2, while I took those individuals through the group, we call that season 1, if you will. So through season 1, we recorded everything that happened, how they responded, their questions, their answers, how much capital they raised. And in this first group, those individuals raised on average $100,000 over the 12-week period. Here's the good news for you. We've packaged that up. We have a new product that's going to be coming out. And if you want to get more information about that product, you want to know that we're going to be doing a webinar on Thursday. What time on Thursday? 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And what you're going to want to do is you want to put that in your calendar and come right back here so that you and I can talk about specifically how to raise capital. Because the answer I'm about to give you isn't going to make as full sense as I'd like it to, because again, I've only got 5 minutes and you need more information than just what I'm sharing with you right now to make that happen. All right. So for everybody, if you want to learn how to raise capital, we're going to be doing a special webinar this week on that very topic. Additionally, I should say that for those of you who already have a copy of my book, if you, again, I'm turning back to the profit analysis quadrant, again, to page 269. The book is Cashflow Diary, 10 Steps to Creating Wealth in Any Economy. This is the answer, by the way, Paulette. Understanding how to use that tool is the answer to your question. So watch this. So here's what you're telling me. You're telling me that you can buy this property for a price, and then you're saying that we've got to take that price and we're going to improve on it, and that's great. And then what we're going to do from there is that after we improve on it, it sounds like I'm going to assume you want to rent it because you started talking about rental information and rental numbers. So I'm going to do this from that standpoint as if you are just going to keep the house and rent it. So let me pull up the calculator so that everybody can see that. Oh, wrong screen. Oh, that didn't work. Okay. Now, there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some math together and figure this thing out for you. So first and foremost, we need to figure out where we're starting at. So 180, I'm going to take the low end of all the numbers, okay? So first you're telling me it's $180,000 is where we are. So I'm going to type in 180 minus, and I'm going to take the low end, so it's 120 of the rehab costs. So I'm going to take minus the 120. And if I understand that correctly, what you're telling me is that I can buy the building for $60,000. Okay? What does that mean here? Okay. What does that mean? You're going to have to give me a little bit more time on this one. So what does that mean here? In the profit analysis quadrant here, we're talking about appreciation. Here we're talking about depreciation. Over here, it's amortization. And over here is cash flow. So the appreciation in this case is going to be forced appreciation. For those of you who remember, there are 5. We don't have time to go through all 5, but there are 5. And we're talking about forced appreciation is the primary play, is what I see. We're starting at $60,000 on our way to 180. Oh, sorry, we're going to put another 120 in the building. What I don't know is the after repair value, because that's probably the one piece of material that I'm missing in this case. You tell me what the rent would look like, but you don't tell me what the after repair value is. So just know that the homework assignment is to go find out what the after repair value would be on this particular deal. So assuming the after repair value is, and I'm totally making up the number right now, I'm going to say 300,000. The difference between the 180 and the 300, this is your $120,000 of forced appreciation. So that's what you need to know. You need to know what the ARV is to figure out your appreciation for this particular quadrant of the whole transaction. Now, there are 4 quadrants. We're only going to talk about this one for the time being, so that you can understand how this works. So of this $120,000, the question I would have for you is how much do you want to give away and how much are you willing to keep? And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just how much are you willing to give away and how much are you willing to keep? To make this simple, I'm just going to say, how about you give away $60,000? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to give away $60,000 of the 120, also known as half. So here's how that works. If you're giving away 60, ignore the depreciation part for a second, because you're giving away 60, that means the investor's return is 60. Let's assume you needed to borrow the total $180,000 in order to make this deal work. So they gave you the 180. So now all I'm going to do is figure what their return would be. Their return is going to be 60,000 divided by 180, which in this case is 33%. And now what you're selling is, Mr. Investor, I'd like to give you a 33% return. If you'd like to do that, sorry guys, there you go. I'd like to give you a 33% return. And it would take, however long it takes, call it 90 days in order to generate that. This is what you're selling. You're selling a 33% return over that 90-day period. Because what you then have the ability to do is refinance that property, take that income out, and be able to pay the investor back. Or the investor can stay along with you. You can begin to structure this in many different ways. But this is the technical part of what I say once I've found the investor, once I've qualified the investor, once we've sat down and we've gotten to know each other a little bit and I've found out what it is that they're looking for. These are the series and steps of processes that you must go through before you get to this conversation. But once you get to this conversation, this is exactly how I do it. And that's what we're going to be talking about again on Thursday at 5 p.m. For those of you who have the ability to be here, you should, so that way we can educate you a little bit more on how to raise private capital. All right. Whew. I know that was more than 5 minutes. Let's see. Jackson. Hey, we already got that one. Excellent. John, over the past 3 months, I've been diving into, oh boy, I'm becoming more financially literate. Yay. You graduated from Virginia Tech. Excellent. I can already sense that working in the what? 9 to 5 is not where you plan on being. No down play on the 9 to 5, but I want to be able to create passive income for myself and my family. Understood. More time, girlfriend, daughter, family, volunteer groups, etc. I have to rearrange numerous arrangements, canceling people, do my work schedule, and I have, yep, I understand. I'm willing to learn, and I'm a firm believer in baby steps. That's good. The one thing I have a difficulty with is actually stepping out and making the bold move of just doing it. I'm going to assume that was very new to real estate and want to learn as much as I can, but I understand the best way to learn is by doing. I just want to make sure that I have enough knowledge, okay, to get me started. I'm very interested in learning about real estate wholesaling, okay, and how I can use that to my advantage. I really just want to know a good place to start and what are some of the basic things I need to know to begin getting my feet wet with real estate. Thank you for your time. Have an awesome day. Be great. Be great. That's the hard part. So let's see if I can't figure this out for you. Some things that I want to say to you, though, is you mentioned that you said this word, this combination, this phrase. You said enough knowledge. My question to you is, how do you know when that is? How do you know when you have enough knowledge? I'm not sure I have enough knowledge. I don't know that anybody ever stops learning. And part of what you're saying, I think, is also true, is that you can't just learn from books. There's two concepts that Jeff Olson talks about. Jeff Olson, in his book, The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge. And in The Slight Edge, he mentions the two different things about the idea of, book knowledge as well as action knowledge or knowledge that comes from experience. And you've got to mix the two together. And sometimes it's okay to go out there before you think you have enough knowledge. In fact, I often tell people to start before they're ready. Jackson here is an example. He's been, I think, 7 or 8 weeks now into the process, and he's already writing, a number of transactions or a number of deals, a number of offers every week. He knows how to do that. He didn't start that way, but it's been a process, and he's been going and moving at what I call the speed of instruction. Unfortunately, most of us are uncomfortable moving at the speed of instruction because we want to know the whole steps. We want to know everything before we take the first step. And what I'm saying to you is go take that first step, because that first step is, after that first step is where all the real learning truly, truly begins. And until you do, you're just going to be stuck. And here's what I'm going to say to you that you may or may not like. But again, my job is to be a coach, to possibly prod you, nod you, maybe even make you or some of the people watching angry so that you actually go out there and get something done. What I mean by that is simply this. Fear does a number of things to us. Okay? It does them in a particular order. And I want to say this to you clearly. Fear first it disguises itself, then it divides us, and then it destroys us. Disguise, divide, destroy. That's what fear does. And right now, one of the more popular disguises for fear is, I don't know enough yet, so I can't get started. It's the first thing I recognize when I'm reading your thing, and I'm like, oh boy, I know what that sounds like. After the disguise, the divide happens. It becomes those who take action and those who don't. And then because those who take action achieve a result, those who don't also achieve a result. It's just one that they don't want. And then this divide begins to happen. And then over time, what happens is that those who take action, they're moving towards the things that they want. Even if they have failure events, those who don't are moving away from the things that they want. And it's just imperceptible, and it happens slowly, and it happens over time. And my counsel to you is to go take action, to put fear in the back seat. It doesn't mean that you're suddenly, unafraid. It just means that you're willing to take action in spite of the fact that you are afraid. And my friend, that's what I want you to do. You can do that. A really good example is there's a webinar just below this video that you have the ability to click and register for. That'll help teach you the basic concepts of wholesaling and help you the same way that we've been able to help Jackson and many others, Katie and many others who are probably watching right now as well, because that's what I want to do. That's why I do this, is to help people get beyond all those things that tend to lock us up and keep us small and not ever exercising our greatest selves. So I'm going to check the chat room. Let's see what you guys have to say. Oh, always remember to put the marker cap back on. Let me tell you that. So let's see what you guys got to say here. Where's the chat room? Whoa. All right. Afternoon, Jay. Could you explain the offer process when writing off? Yes, we talked. Hey, Jackson, good you're here. What are your thoughts on raising capital with family members? Good question, Mike. Good question, Mike. Mike, and what's interesting to me is that Mike was one of the participants in the live mastermind group. So that's good. Hopefully, Mike, you are still out there using the information. As far as raising capital with family members, I don't mind it per se. It's just that none of my family members have any capital. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you've got to ask yourself, do you actually want your family members understanding and knowing how much you earn? Is that comfortable for you? If the deal goes south, is Christmas now going to be less than amicable? And everyone needs to be very, very hyper clear. You don't need to give them any sort of discounts. In fact, in many ways, you need to make them jump through more hoops and have tighter policies and tighter stringent rules when dealing with family members. So those are probably the biggest counsels pieces that I would give you, because you're going to see these people all the time. And when you see them, you want to make sure that you're in a position to where you actually you don't want to hide, regardless of whether it goes well or whether it doesn't. So let's see. What else we got? Family members got it. Thanks, Jay. I am raising private capital via someone's 401k plan. Sandy, I got plenty of thoughts on that. It's actually one of the primary strategies we use in the webinar that's coming up, talking about raising private capital. I've got lots of thoughts because that's been the primary source. I love how many questions you guys have about raising private capital. I'm hoping that means all of you are going to be there Thursday, 5 o'clock. Make sure that you put it in your calendar. Move at the speed of instruction. Open up iCal, because you all should be Apple users, by the way, just so you know. My personal slant and bias. You open up iCal, type that thing in there. 5 o'clock, we're going to be going through your questions, all right? And come back here to cashflowdiary.tv so that you can see it 5 o'clock Thursday. Be here so that I can answer more of your questions, specifically as it relates to private capital, and you can find out the details of our new Raising Private Capital product as well. Okay, let's see. When dealing with, it scrolled on me. When dealing with structuring a purchase money mortgage, first of all, Jackson, right there, I'm already excited. You're speaking my language. You're actually using the terms. When dealing with purchase money mortgage, one of the benefits to the seller is owning a note for income without having to deal with taxes, utilities, tenants, etc. Yes. But if the seller were to agree to take on the management for a fee, wouldn't he then still be responsible for tenants and repairs? Would the only benefit for them at that point be not paying PITI? Got it. Yeah, that's why I don't think a seller would ever do that. They typically, if I'm going to offer someone a purchase money mortgage, it's because they are tired of the management part. They don't want to be dealing with the tenants and toilets and stuff like that. They just don't want that. So I don't ever see that going down. It could, I guess, but I don't see that going down. But yes, your understanding is 100% correct. Is that Nickel? Nick, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'm doing the best I can. Read your book. Good stuff. Thanks. Hey, Mike, if you could put an ad on your vehicle regarding raising private capital, what would it say? Mike, I like you. You are a genius in so many ways. Here's what it would say. I'll write it for you. Here's what it would say. Need deals? I'm totally making this up, by the way. Got money? text money to 949-682-3565. Now, I know that sounds funny, but that's actually a live number. For those of you who want more information about the Raising Capital product, you can see I'm excited about the product because people have been able to raise capital. Sep, who's in the chat room right now, I saw his name, was by far the clear winner when it comes to getting in front of capital and being able to figure this thing out. And that's what I'm saying to you is, I'm excited about it, and you should be excited about it. But more importantly, if you've ever wondered why on earth would someone give you money? Why on earth? What problem are you solving for the person with money? That's another reason you're going to want to be on the webinar Thursday, 5 p.m. is because people with money still have problems. They still have problems. And learning how to talk to them about their problems and address them and solve them is the key. All right, so let's see. Thank you, Mike. I like that idea. Jackson, if I found a deal that was great to hold on to and didn't want to let it go to wholesaling, what would be your favorite strategy to keeping it if seller financing wasn't an option and you don't have the capital yourself? Wow, Jackson, that's pretty much everything I do right there. What are your thoughts on raising private capital if you wanted to? Oh, see, you just lost me right there. I was good until you said live in it yourself. That's the only thing. Everything else is raise the capital, but don't live in it yourself, rent it out. And if there's a place you want to live in, here's how you tackle that. You do enough of those types of deals until you have enough passive income to pay for the place you really want. Okay? And then you move there. So, in fact, I'm sure the guys here in the studio are eagerly awaiting the day that I'm ready to really move into what I really want. But until then, we're here. So, oh well. And that it is what it is. But I'm in agreement with 100% of your strategy until we get to the point and you're talking about living in it yourself. So that's where you miss. Hey, Richard in the OC. Excellent. Sandy, I was afraid to speak with an old friend about real estate investing, and I did it anyway. Yay. Guess what? She will be participating in a deal using her retirement account. That's called opening your mouth. Yes, good job. She was thrilled to do so, of course, and I shared this with the people in this room so they know not to fear having the conversation. It's just a conversation. And he's so right. Thanks, Sandy. And yes, here's the thing. An offer is an invitation for a conversation. If you can ask someone, hey, would you like to go to the movies? Then you have the ability to ask them, hey, can I use your $200,000? It's the same thing. You're like, no, it ain't, Jay. That's $200,000. A movie ticket is 40. Yeah, no, I know, 40, right? It depends on where you're going for the movies. The point is, you can ask them to go to the movies. If you have the physical ability to do that, you can ask them to use the capital because you're solving a problem. The movie solves a problem. Entertainment is usually something that we're after. We want to be entertained, so we pay for it. When you go to the restaurant, hey, let's go eat together. Okay, cool. Solves a problem. They need to eat. All of these things are things that we just don't think about in the same way. An individual, just because they have money, I've heard people tell me things like, hey, I got too much money. I don't need any more money. And those are the individuals I love working with. And what I'm saying to you is you have the ability to be in front of them. I can teach you a system that'll keep you in front of them and allow you to use it over and over and over and over again so that you can continually raise capital anytime you need it to go out there and do bigger, better, and more deals. So, let's see. Okay, let's go back over to the questions that were sent in. So, John, we are now into Debbie. I have ordered Jay's book. It's not here yet. Awesome. And I have been researching properties, especially foreclosed condos and duplexes. I want to learn how to use, seriously, other people's money. There's a group on LinkedIn where people post that they have capital for real estate. Are these legitimate? Ooh, good question. Good question. Debbie, love it. Personally, I've not done any business with any of those. I can't say they are. I can't say they're not. What I can say is this. Even if they are, I would still rather deal with someone I could see face to face. I could hear and talk to a real person because they're going to have a little bit more stringent requirements in terms of the box. So let me tell you what I mean. And we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here a bit, in the sense that for those of you who are coming on Thursday at 5 p.m. To cashflowdiary.tv to watch the webinar on raising private capital, this is some of the stuff that we're talking about. So there are different sources of capital, right? And not all capital is treated equal. Not all capital has the same amount of requirements. Not all capital has the same amount of restraints. Like, many of us are familiar with banks, right? Banks typically use this FICO. That's their box. Their box is a FICO, and that's what they use. Sometimes you're familiar with places like angel investors, right? And their box is whatever they want it to be. You know, it's usually a cause, it's more cause driven, not always financially driven, etc. And then we've also got VCs, right? Venture capitalists. And they've got a completely different box. And then we actually have the person that I'll teach you to find is the private investor. And they've got a box. That box, my friends, is what I call investor identity, and you've got to learn how to recognize and understand that box. Failure to understand that box is why you don't have access to the capital from these sources. Once you understand that box, they'll give you all the money that you could possibly use once you understand it, and that's the key. One of the many keys. We've got it's 8 keys to being able to get access to raising private capital, and this is what we're talking about. So understanding their investor identity is very, very huge. It's very, very important for you to do. And that's why you must begin to understand it. So these people in LinkedIn, they've got a box. The challenge is the person on the phone is probably not the one that's controlling the box. And that's what I want to do. I want to be as close to the person controlling the box as humanly possible. I can't get much further away than when it comes to banks, because banks just doesn't somehow make it work right. And they've got their own box. It's predefined. It's very stringent, the way that they do things, and it doesn't typically fit what you and I are trying to do as investors. So learning to find the private capital is a good idea. It's better for you to figure out ways to attract the capital to yourself than to go to someone advertising for capital. Because if someone is advertising, I've got money, bring me your deal, their box is by default going to be narrower, usually, than what you're looking for. So hopefully that helps. All right, let's go to the next question. Or hold on. It looks like there's a question in the chat room. Let's see. Are you saying to use or not to use private capital for the purchase of your own home? I am saying not to. I am saying not to. I am saying not to. Hey, don't do it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because that is now an expense. I would rather it be a business transaction than something personal. If something goes south and you've used that's not good. I can't see how that goes well. I just can't see how that goes well. So that's why I'm saying that, all right? That's what's important to think about there. All right, so let's go. That was Debbie. Justin, one specific challenge has been collecting money that is owed to us once tenants move out. Oh, okay, got it. We have a security deposit in place, and we do take tenants to court when necessary, but none of that result is actually receiving the bulk of what you are owed. Correct. I agree. In addition, we are currently using bank financing for our real estate operations. See previous question. It has become more and more clear over the years that banks are becoming highly inflexible. Okay, I should remind you guys, I don't look at these questions ahead of time. I just answer them on the fly. I look at your deals on the fly, and I just find it interesting. We just had this conversation from Debbie, but we'll see, what else is going on here. Are becoming highly inflexible in how they examine deals and manage the ongoing mortgage process. Yeah, you just made my case, Justin. That's how I feel about it. You just made my case. That's exactly why you've got to learn to use private capital so that you can renegotiate when stuff happens, and stuff happens all the time. And that's what you got to learn to do. You got to learn to become the person that's willing to fight through, figure it out, and make the tough choices when need be, and figure those things out. I'm not perfect at it yet. As many of you know, we are on our way our goal is to get to 1,000 units in the U.S. and 1 million square feet. We're not there yet. We're a third of the way there, but we're not there yet. So I'm still learning these things too. Now, for me, in a lot of cases, depending on your class of tenant, all of you know about the Walmart, Nordstrom, Target thing. Depending on your class of tenant, it may not make sense to actually have a security deposit. I know that sounds like what? Because a security deposit, first of all, if you think about it, on your balance sheet, it's a liability. I would rather collect extra rent in exchange for no security deposit than to have a security deposit that I'm going to have to give back, that I'm going to have to spend money to protect, because I'm going to have to open a separate account, keep it completely separate, and do all those things. And typically, as you have already stated, getting that security deposit never covers what they did, and then you're trying to sue, and that's more time and expense. So eliminate all that. Charge a little bit more in rent, and when they ask why, well, there's no security deposit. And that typically works, and it works very, 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 very well with people who have pets. Because if you do that, you charge a little bit more for Fido and Fluffy, and let Fido and Fluffy stay there. Something like $25 per month per pet. And in exchange for no security deposit, they stay longer, they love you, they're like all these things. I'm telling you, it works. So Justin, I'm glad you're in the fight. Keep fighting. Anything that we can do to help you out is what we're going to do. As you heard me say already, we have a webinar coming up for this very reason, because a number of you guys you keep asking me this question. And so it's like, I don't know what to do except for then solve the problem and create a product for you so that you can learn how to raise the capital and how to deal with these issues. And that's why we're doing the webinar on Thursday. So you have 2 buyers for wholesale deals. How can I motivate them to work faster to get deals done? Well, Rose, motivating people, we're going to go here it is. I'll explain this more fully, but I was talking to Jackson earlier. So Rose, now I'm going to talk to you. And remember, it's these 3 things. It's now, you can, and the rest of it, so it says 1, 2, 3. Sell me something. Now you can sell me something. For most of us, we're selling too soon in our sales cycle, okay? And what that means is that you don't know why they would move now. That's why they're not moving now. You don't know why they would do business with you, which is why they're shopping it around and talking to other people. You don't know if they have the physical ability to do business with you or to do business in general, which is why when it comes down to closing, they keep saying, well, let me talk to this person, let me talk to that person. You're not asking these questions. You're not asking and here's the key to urgency. The key to urgency is to understand if they're bleeding. You're like, what? Here's what I mean. Many of you right now watching this, you may have something wrong in your body. So I'm just going to use your physical body. And inside your physical body or on your physical body right now is something that you know is there, but you haven't gone to the doctor for whatever reason. Now, you wait until that something swells, changes color, starts leaking, and then all of a sudden, it became urgent, didn't it? And you know what you do? You get on the phone, you call the ER, and you head out, and you get it handled. That's the point. It wasn't urgent enough yet for you to do something now. So when we're dealing with investors, we've got to understand, why on earth do you want to be involved in real estate investing? One of my most favorite questions that I often tell people to ask, and I kid you not, it works. It's really why. You ask any question. My favorite one being, have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? Then when they answer, you go, really why? In that chain of questioning and understanding that is how I've been able to pull together a bunch of resources to go out there and do business. My point in saying this to you, Rose, is that you haven't done enough questions to find out if they're bleeding. Therefore, they see no reason to move today, because moving today is no different than moving tomorrow. So the question is, why? You need to know it. And because you don't know it, they can take their time. Okay? Let's see. Is that in the chat room? Tiffany, we'll get to your question in a second. Let's see. Whoa. What is this? Okay. Do you or have you been a member of any networking groups? Yeah, Mike. And no, I don't use a Wyoming entity at all. I have been a member of BNI, That was a long time ago. But those structured networking groups are great places to go for those learning how to network, because they'll teach you, which is great, especially BNI. I like that one a lot. So that's a very simple question, easy to answer. Let's see, Tiffany, I went to dental hygiene school and got my bachelor. Okay. I'm currently working as a hygienist in Las Vegas, also known as Lost Wages, Nevada. I am making decent money, but my mom owns her own real estate and property management company, and I have been wanting to get involved with buying rental real estate and real estate investments, but I'm worried that my degree will go to waste. Oh. And I'm scared to start completely over when I have no experience in the real estate market. However, I'm only 25 years old, and I know that my passion is in real estate, and I want to have the opportunity to make money proportional to the amount of work I put into something, rather than continuing to work an hourly wage and salary. I have no idea where to start, but I know I need to start somewhere. Okay, Tiffany, here's your first step. What you're going to do is you're going to click below and join the webinar, because that's exactly, I understand you completely. You're going to learn to raise capital. And you're going to learn to do wholesale transactions like Jackson. This is getting started. Now, that's the short version. Here's the truth of I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear. And you can take it, you can leave it, you can lump it, but here's what I know. I know that I am telling you everything that I believe from the bottom of my heart. Same things I tell my children. And you may not like the answer, but again, that's not my problem. So, if you ask me, most, not all, most degrees are indeed a waste. Now, you happen to pick one that is a technical degree, so you have a way of technically earning money simply because that's what you were trained to do. So that's good. I think you did good there. Here's the challenge. You recognize that your passion isn't your purpose, and you're playing outside of what it is that you actually want to do. That's going to never go away until you actually begin to do what you want to do. So the question is are you willing to cut the cord early? I.e., you're 25. Cut it now. Plus, you have a mentor, it sounds like, in some sense. Who did you say, your mom? Your cousin? Your mom. So maybe your mom can help you, in a lot of ways. And if you don't feel she can help you, or you don't have that relationship to be able to learn from mom, then obviously we're here to teach you as much as you're willing to learn, provided you're willing to do what we ask. I don't want you filling your head with a whole bunch of knowledge so that you know stuff. I want you filling your body and muscles and mind up with a whole bunch of experiences based upon what you know, and going forward there. But you also hit on something that's very, very key for everyone to understand, is that you can make a nice hourly wage, but it's that self-improvement. It's that work outside of those things. Working on yourself helps you begin to build and make your fortune. So, Tiffany, if anything we can do to help you, I'm more than willing to do that, as you know. Again, repeat, webinar, 5 p.m., people. 5 p.m., not tomorrow, Thursday. 5 p.m. Thursday, we're going to be talking about raising private capital. Nikki, I am financially challenged, and my credit is not the best. I really want to learn how Jay Massey accomplished this without having to use his own money. Thank you in advance for your response. Nikki, that is probably one of the most common questions I get asked. And what I'm saying to you is very similar to what I've been saying this entire show. This has been like the financial raising money show today. I didn't know that was going to happen, but that's okay. And that's also why I put it in a book, Cashflow Diary, 10 Steps to Creating Wealth in Any Economy. Chapter 1 is that chapter is all about how we started. And everything else are the steps we took to continue to build. If you want to figure that out, maybe, just maybe, you pick up a copy of the book. It's $9 for the ebook. It'll be to you in a few minutes. Or you can feel free to, buy a physical copy. Buy one and I'll sign it for you and send it to you as well. And you can click the link just below the video to be able to gain access to that as well. Because there's a lot that has to change with your mindset. There's a lot, what you don't have isn't important. What you should begin to focus on is what you do have. And when you do that, you begin to see different things, different opportunities come your way. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Problem. My age. I am 17. Wow. Tyler, that is probably the most direct question I've seen in a long time. That your age is not a problem, but I love the way you said it. Your age is not a problem unless you choose to let it be a problem. You could reverse those digits and say, problem, my age is 71, and I would still tell you the same thing. The age is not a problem. What is a challenge is your ability to think about leverage. Sometimes what you're leveraging is OPT, other people's time. Sometimes you're leveraging OPK, other people's knowledge. Sometimes you're leveraging OPE, other people's everything. I was going to wait until someone shouted it out. Then I realized you're over there on the other side of the camera. I can't hear you. Other people's everything. So in your case, my friend, when you being 17, you need to leverage someone who is 18 and has the physical ability to sign a document. That's one thing you need. You can run all the math, you can do all the numbers, you can do all the research, you can walk all the property, you just need someone to sign documents, my friend. That's it. And in exchange for your signature on these documents, you get to be a part of this LLC that I also own. So you and this person form an LLC, go out there and make things happen. That's what you're missing. See, I just reframed that. And now you've got a person on your team and you're learning together. And we all know if you have a study buddy, you're actually more likely to pass the test. So keep that in mind as you go out there. Your problem is so not your age. Peter, I am working in South Africa as a real estate agent. Awesome. First person from South Africa. We've got, I know there's people from the UK, Germany, I believe Israel, or no, he's in Canada right now, but he's from Israel, and clearly South Africa. I'm working in South Africa as a real estate agent. My biggest desire is to get buyers that are trustworthy. We also have to wait a long time before the loans are approved. Yeah, two things, Peter. I don't know if you're looking for buyers that are trustworthy as much as you're looking for buyers that do what they say they're going to do. I think that's what you mean, and because I'm not sure if that's what you're saying, or if you're saying that people say they're going to buy with you and then they end up buying with someone else. It's one of those two things. I'm not quite sure which, but you just need buyers who have the capacity to close. Now, in the absence of a resource, I say create it. So if you don't have buyers that can close, you go and create the buyer, i.e. you raise the capital and form the buyer, and now it takes care of your second question. You don't have to wait a long time before the loans are approved. You are raising the capital to approve your own loan per se, and now you are that buyer, and therefore you trust you to follow through. There you go. All problems solved simply by learning how to raise private capital. Here's the thing I want to stress about raising private capital. It's not US specific. I would be very short-sighted if that's the only thing I did. What we're going to talk about are the principles behind raising private capital, so that so long as you are near people, it works. Keywords, got to be near people. So if anyone's watching, possibly in Antarctica, I'm sorry. I can't really help you too much. Besides, your real estate, I don't think so. Not a hot market, you know what I mean? So moving on. Gustavo. Total lack of knowledge about the industry, specifically on how banks deal and what legal or financial tools are available out there for people with little or no startup capital. Excellent, Gustavo. I like the last part of your sentence because you're starting to ask what is out there. You're not focused on what you don't have. The start of your question, knowledge is the easy part. Let me show you what I mean by this in the sense of knowledge is the most accessible thing today. Inside of a real estate transaction, we typically have these four components: knowledge, time, money, and credit. You can typically draw a dividing line straight down the middle, and he or she with the knowledge and time typically does not have the money or credit, and the reverse is also usually true. The thing is, we all have 86,400 seconds in a day. Those are your investment opportunities. So you have 86,400 investment opportunities every day. The question is how are you using your time? What are you investing your time into doing? Because right now, if you don't know anything, your time isn't worth a whole lot. The thing is, by learning to apply the correct knowledge, you can eliminate the need for credit. And what happens is that as you do that, you learn how to find the money. And what you must then begin to make sure that you are doing is investing your time. That's supposed to be a clock. That didn't come out at all. You're investing your time in gaining more knowledge, talents, and skills. And that's pretty much what we do and why we do what we do at the Cashflow Diary. That's why you're watching this show. That's why you're sending in the questions. That's why. That's why the book exists. That's why, guess what? Tomorrow there's a webinar, 5 p.m. And don't forget about that. I said tomorrow again, didn't I? Okay. Thursday, 5 p.m. Thursday, 5 p.m. Put it on your calendar. Maybe I should put it on my calendar. Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. What we're going to be talking about is the knowledge required to go out there and do this exact process. Be the person with the time, take the correct knowledge, eliminate the need for credit, find the money so that you can go out there and do more deals. How much time do we have left? 1 minute. Excellent. Let me see what's in the chat room, and then we'll probably end there. How do you get over the fear to move forward in real estate investing? I really need to get this done. Okay, I will answer your question. I don't think you're going to like my answer, Richard, but again, that's not my problem. My problem is that I want you to understand fear it's not something you get over. You can get in front of it, but you can't get over it. And the way that I was taught to deal with my fear is to do what you fear first. So in the morning, you have an anxiety about making offers. Make an offer before you leave the house. Learn to do those things that you fear first, and the rest of your day goes a lot smoothly. Because most of the time, we're imagining all these crazy things that are going to happen that never happen, and we could just move on anyway. You don't really get over fear. I still get afraid that, deals aren't going to come together. Funding isn't going to come in. I still get afraid, but I don't let the fear hold me back, and you shouldn't either. This is why, for many of you, if you've ever purchased any of our products, we have a bonus product called Cashflow Foundation. It's a lot of the mental, it's like 4 hours of video, me to you, about all the mental tools that I've used to be able to deal with things like fear in real estate investing. Are you kidding? The first time I signed a $2 million contract, I was doing this number and I was shaking. I had done hundreds of transactions by that point. I didn't know what to do. The first time I did a commercial deal, mind you, I'd done millions of dollars of real estate. It's the first commercial deal. And I should more correctly say tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate. And it was my first commercial deal, and I'm shaking. Fear doesn't go away. If it did, then you're going to be reckless. Then you're going to be stupid. Then you're going to do something that you're going to eventually regret. There should always be fear, some sort of hesitation or anxiety present. You just got to learn to manage your emotions before they manage you. Michelle, I really appreciate how you explain all of your real estate education. I look forward to reading your book and continue educating myself via Cashflow Diary. Thank you, Michelle. I definitely appreciate that commitment. Looking forward to hearing all the good things that you have to say after you've read the book. So let's get back over to the PowerPoint. As you can see, who is it? Linda, Michael. Okay, hold on. Linda and Michael, you two must know each other because you both said no down payment, not having the money for the down payment. That's funny. Completely. You guys know you need to go to the webinar. Teaching me how to wholesale property without any money or credit. Michael, that question is very easy. Click the webinar below. That's going to be starting here soon. And what you have the ability to do is to learn how to wholesale exactly like Jackson is doing. Under what to say to other like-minded people to build my database. Cheryl, your answer is to get the book because I go over that exact script inside the book. Jimmy, finding a deal, closing a deal, and resell, flip a property. Jimmy, book. See, I can do this. Fear of the unknown. James, see previous answer. I need help building management company to operate real estate profitably. Tom, book. I'm being kind of funny, but you guys, there's so many questions. Oh, okay, so let's see. I'm a novice to the real estate industry, and I would like to absorb as much knowledge as possible. I'm a single mother of 3 beautiful girls, with one heading to college. Mine's heading to college, too. I was once a Section 8 and food stamp recipient, and I thought I needed a degree for a better job with more money. Now, 3 years later, with the nursing degree and a decent salary, I realize I'm in the same boat as I was a Section 8 food stamp, except I'm the only one supplying all the cash as long as I am working. Wow, this is good. Now, looking into the future, I do not see how I'm going to provide an education for my girls as well as plan for my retirement and care for a mother who I know is not financially stable to retire in 12 years when she'll be 65. I am a visionary, quick learning, hoping to gain as much knowledge someday to become a real estate investor and much more. Okay, guys, here's the deal. I'm going to take some extra time to answer this one because this is real. Hopefully you don't mind. Maybe you stick around. Maybe you've already gone. But Letty, this is for you. Couple of things. You've got to, here's what it is. And you are learning things, and in the real world practice, first of all, you learned a very valuable lesson that what you think may be true may not necessarily be true. What you've heard is true may not necessarily be the way. I get this all the time. How is it? I'm a college dropout. I've got a PhD though, public high school diploma. So let's give me credit for that. And people wonder all the time how all these things come together. I got a lot of street knowledge, not as much book knowledge. I've got a lot of seat knowledge because I've been in there. I've mixed it up. I've had people steal money and all these other things from me, and figuring out ways to make capital and payroll and all these things still happen isn't easy, and it's not for the faint of heart. So if you're still listening and I haven't scared you away, watch this. All of us earn money in usually one of two ways. Either we do it with our labor, or we do it with an asset. Okay. When we do it with our labor, that labor is usually tied to a clock. That's what it's usually tied to. And there's only 86,400 opportunities every day, also known as 24 hours, every day to invest that time to produce the result. Here's the real issue. The issue for you, Letty, and many others is that you're on a 1-to-1 ratio. You only get paid a certain dollar amount for 1 hour. If you could even just figure out how to get to a 2-to-1 ratio, you'd be doing twice as well, even if that second thing you were doing didn't earn any more money or even earned half the amount of money that you currently earn at your job. Because that second thing has the ability to produce income without you being present. And this is the key, and this is why assets are powerful. So what does that mean? That means when you own a single family house, let me show you. A single family house, doesn't that look pretty? Who wants to make an offer? All right. So when you own a single family house, this house is working 86,400 seconds every day, but so are you in theory, right? Say you still have your job. So now what was 86,400 seconds is technically double that. But once you add another house, so how many houses do you want? 10, 20, 30. It doesn't really matter to me. Here's what I'm saying to you. The word you're looking for is pay time. And this is part of the bonus material that we typically have, but whatever. Pay time. Pay time is simply that time you spend in front of or on the phone with a prospect or a customer. When that prospect or a customer is using your service, that's pay time. That's what I'm talking about. This is what we all need more of, okay? And the way to get it is to deliver a service without you being present. That's what real estate has the ability to do. You've got to learn how to gain control of these assets using none of your own money or credit or using other people's money so that you can go out there to begin to build this. That's exactly where I started from. That's what the book is designed to do, is to teach someone whether they've ever done it before or not isn't important. What is important is that you're willing to take a $9.99 gamble on yourself if you want the ebook, or a larger gamble, quote unquote, on yourself if you invest in one of our courses, so that I can show you step by step. And again, it's proven information because you get to watch what the other participants did and do to gain their success. And for those of you in our courses, you do know already that we have a private Facebook group so that you and I can continue to talk and we can all continue to grow together as we go out there and build bigger portfolios. So Letty, I hope you're watching today. I really do, because I understand exactly how you feel. You feel trapped all over again. It's because you were still, even though, yes, you had more money, yes, you did some things, you're still on the 1-to-1 ratio. And the sooner you can disassociate yourself from that 1-to-1 ratio, I think you'll begin to see different results. Okay, let me just check the chat room real fast. All right, perfect. All right, guys. That's all the time we've got for today. As you know, I went over. Hopefully you can forgive me. And for those of you who want more information, or if you're still interested in the book but you like audiobooks instead, I'm still working on that. I'm in the process of going through I'm in chapter 2. I've read some of it. This is a very challenging thing to do, but if you want to make sure that you're on the list to be notified when the audiobook becomes available, you can send a text message there, or you can go to cashflowdiary.com/audio. It'll do the same thing as well. Again, I look forward to seeing you guys Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, U.S. Pacific time, all right? So that you can participate in the webinar that we'll be doing right here on cashflowdiary.tv, teaching you all about how to raise private capital. For those of you who want to know how to do deals tonight using none of your own money or credit, you're going to click the link below for the webinar on wholesaling, and I look forward to talking to all of you guys again soon. Until next time.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cashflow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, cashflowdiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cashflow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.